resume that. And Luvuyo, do you want to maybe start sharing your screen and get this, get it over? And I think we'll ask some questions at the end. Well, as we've started, I want you all, just before, as Luvuyo starts to do his thing here, I want you to go into the chat quickly, everybody that's here, and just trying to say a hi from wherever you are. Now, I don't want you to put hi from Cape Town. I mean, listen, most of us are from Cape Town. It's pretty big. I think go hi from the suburb, right? So I'm up here in Vredehoek. So I'm up here. So I'm like, hi from Vredehoek. Maybe pop your name in there too. So everyone, if you go do that, pop that into the chat. It'd be good to see where everybody's from. There we go. Stefan, hi from Gardens. There we go. So we can sort of pinpoint, because I think we'll know it. Oh, geez, we've even got some from Canada here, Nancy. That's amazing. So this is really a full-on global event right here, thanks to Nancy. So Luvuyo, I'm going to hand over. I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to hand over to you to take over and kick things off.
No, thanks so much, Jason and Stefan, and so great to see everyone, especially Nancy, joining us for today. I'll try, to kind of give, kind of a context in terms of Silulo, what we're doing, and then try to share also part of the lesson learned. Also try to also share about the impact of the COVID and how we've come back from the COVID. So I think that's kind of like where I'm probably done, and mostly it's more interested in terms of question and answer. So, please feel free whilst I'm talking to share the question. I will definitely, attend the question now. Just a brief, so I was born in Queenstown, Ekomani, in the Eastern Cape. And then my father and my mother was my father was a medicist, and my father was working as a domestic worker. So my father was a great rugby player, and my mother a netball player. They met at the sport field, and then they had me as a firstborn, and they had my brother and then they had Ulianda and Lonwabo. So we're 4 boys and no girls. 2 have passed away with my father, so only left 2 now with my brother, which are still, so my mother, she started, when she was unemployed, started running a shebeen. And so if you remember in those times, before 94, it was 98, 88, sorry, then it was 88. So it was illegal for a black woman to run a shebeen. So the police used to come at home to harass my mother, just like confiscate the liquor. And we used to shove the liquor at the back of the yard because some of the police would tell us in terms of they are coming for a raid. And I think probably the resilience I learned from my mother as early as age. And my mother used to say, we call this uvuguzenzele. It's like, wake up and do yourself now. So I kind of learned the entrepreneur part in my mother's, as early, because I used to assist with the customers selling and dealing with kind of like issues around the land, the shebeen. So it came to Cape Town, 96, study, hungry for education. The shebeen business no longer existed. My mother was saved now and accepted Jesus. So it was no longer a business now. So it was more my father taking care of us now to like, so as a firstborn, so I was kind of like supported to come to Cape Town, study Cape Tech, and then did 3 qualification teaching, and then BTech also in teaching education, and then do another BTech at business administration. And then I started working as a teacher in Khayelitsha. So for 3 years, I used to be teaching accounting and business economics. It was amazing times, and I think teaching is a noble job. And definitely I'll go back at some point to be a teacher, because I think we need more teachers more than before, because that's kind of like where the world's been shaped now. And so I spent, time being amazing time with teaching now. But probably after that, I resigned, and I probably should briefly, I resigned, be a teacher, and then started to Silulo. So it's been 17 years now since Silulo journey. And then 2006, while studying Silulo, I was studying at UCT, doing AIM. And then 2018, I was kind of like in the program with Schwab Social Entrepreneur in Harvard. So that's kind of a journey, personal journey now. But from Silulo, I mean, started on the boot of a car, Light. I used to drive 2-door car, going to different schools and meeting with teachers, selling them second-hand computers. First month, I mean, it was 2004 October. There were 2 computers. In fact, before that, we started with my brother cleaning company, and it never worked out. And both of us, we're not good in terms of labor, and we just realized it's not in us. And then we left that business. And then I saw many of my colleagues that time that were struggling using computer, and the outcome education was more kind of like driving more computers for school for skill. And my brother went to ask for 10,000 because he was working that time. So I was not working that time. Because I resigned without a plan, just like resign and follow my heart. And I want to advise you, just like follow your heart. I think you must have a plan. And because I almost lost my house, and then the Light was almost repossessed because of like I was defaulting with the payment. And so, I mean, when we started at 10,000, we started with buying 4 computers. And then, so first month, there were only 2 saved. So I used to wait for teachers after school or break times, come in, literally. I mean, I used to carry those big monitors, put them in a table and say, this is a keyboard, this is a mouse. I mean, this is how it works. And teachers were kind of like not getting in now. But I mean, after 2 months, I mean, there were also 2 in November. December, there were 15 computers being sold. So what I've done there is to encourage teachers to form stock fund, to form a savings. So they will come in together for 6, they will buy each other. Within 6 months, teachers were able to get the computers. So that works in the first seed capital. And Lonwabo, I mean, joined me the following year, 2005. And then we sell these refurbished computers, but we didn't have skills to do repairs and maintenance and support. We just like selling computers, and these refurbished computers were having a problem. So now we needed to have a partner to able to work with us now. And we couldn't afford to pay someone to employ, because even the computers was like surviving. It was not a part of the business now. And then we have find a partner, Scribo, and then we started starting Silulo. So Silulo, I mean, in nutshell, it's like, it's our abbreviation, the SI, Silulo, LU, Luvuyo, LO, Lonwabo. But the meaning is more, we bring value through technology. I mean, we just realized that in the township, we will able to make sure that we bring value to many people through the computers. That time, we were thinking that every household, like Microsoft, must have a computer, like every household, there's a TV. The mobile was not coming in. It probably could take in 2008, 2009 mobile. It was more like selling these refurbished computers. And then people were not coming in our stores for the computers. I mean, they were not able to even to do their kind of CV. They were struggling. And then we started, no, let's train them. Let's train our customers. And I think that training, that's what the social impact, I mean, able to change our business now. Because, I mean, then the training, we started, I mean, offering training over 6 months. And so the student will probably, after they finish, they'll find employment, they'll study further or start their businesses now. So the break for just like the training, it was 2007, but it took us 5 years to get the model right. So for 2 years, it was a boot of a car. So we ran a business in the boot of a car. For 3 years, it was a cafe with the training, but we didn't have one-stop center. So by 2009, that's what we get the model for Silulo business model. And then 2010, that's what we expanded now, opening branches. And we decided to want to focus in the township and rural areas. That's what we wanted. We focus in the sense that we see a need of people not being connected, and then need of skilling of our communities, and also need of IT support. So that's what we saw it, and we said that we're going to build this organization in the township now. And because I come from Eastern Cape, and then 2012, and then we decided to open a store in my hometown in Queenstown now as part of the growth. And Eastern Cape becomes the kind of like region where we grow double than the Western Cape. I mean, we've got probably about 15 stores in the Western Cape, but Eastern Cape probably about 28 stores that we have it, and KZN probably about 2 stores now that we have. So we kind of having this one-stop center where we basic skilling, I mean, like from Word, Excel, PowerPoint, basics, cashier course. We do coding course now. So we do a kind of like basic kind of course that, guys, they could really get a skill and find employment. And then 2014, we wanted to scale again. We want to get this asset management for funding. So that it was then we're funding the staff members. So we're looking for funding the staff members. So probably I'll give a brief about that kind of like the franchise part. But look at now, we're sitting at 43, 18 are franchised and 25 are owned by us in terms of the own stores now. And the model in terms of what we do is to get the model right. The model is like one-stop center. It's about 80 to 100 square meters. It's minimum of between 15 to 25, 15 on the cafe. Some stores that 10, 15 cafe, and then training about 25 computer that we have. It will open from Monday to Saturday from 8 in the morning until 8 in the evening. That's like, how we are open, and the impact that we doing, it's like probably divided into three. One, so the staff that the guys who part of the student with us. So the guys who study with us, they pass Matric, they will study with Silulo, do the 6 months course. Those guys will employ them. They will become a consultant, and we choose the best in the store. They become a consultant, or they become a trainer, or they become a shadower, or they become a technician with us, and then they will grow to become a branch manager, to manage a branch. So after branch manager, and then they become area manager to manage the area. And some of those guys, 8 of them now, they are owning the franchise now. So they are owning franchise. So by 2014, we went to funders, through SAP Foundation, through Stella, through Kedis, and then NewC, looking for funding for these guys. So we'll go and say, give funding for these guys for 50%. For 3 years, we'll handhold them. They will be part of us, where they able to come in, own the store with us. And then after 3 years, they can come on their own now. You will find them directly. The surety will be able to make sure that they are in the position to So all the store we have now, they are owning it. We no longer have 50% now. They are owning 100% of the staff, and it changed their life now. It changed their family, it changed themselves now, because now they can afford and they can able to have kind of like money now to buy themselves. Extension at home, buying a property, and also study further now. So that's one part in terms of the impact that we're doing now. And the second impact, we've trained about 50,000 students that we've trained in the last probably 12 years in terms of training. And most of the students, 60%, you will find the employment call center, retail space, like retail stores, government, departments, and they will study further others, and then others, they will look for learnership. And then some few started their businesses. The amazing stories that the guys that with us, they're starting the business in terms of the training. That's one part in terms of like skilling many young people to get a skill in the township in an affordable amount of money, that they can get a good same skill that you can get it at Boston, or you can get it at Damelin now. You get a quality skill that you can get it. And then thirdly, what we do, it's convenience. People are walk in now to get the service now. So they don't have to wait to go to town. They can walk in and get the service. And it's a big part in terms of areas. In the Eastern Cape, where we go deeper rural areas. So where we bring this infrastructure, where it's able to assist the entire town, because of like now we skilling and we bring in access now. So these are kind of 3 things that we're able to address. And I think it's part of like the big question now, why do we exist? It's like we exist because of this, digital inclusion. People are not being connected. We exist because of unemployment and poverty, inequality. And I think that's how we see that the power of technology can be able to fix that now. As much as I'm kind of like sharing, all this good news in terms of how we've able to pivot, we grow the businesses. It's been tough. It's been very tough. This is where part, I could do a movie around this thing in terms of like, it's like really, it's not been, they kind of like, where some entrepreneurs, they are dealing with the issues of scaling, people, processes, and that. I mean, if you run a business in the township, you're dealing with the serious stuff that you're not even dealing with internal, but external, I mean, issues that are kind of becomes a problem now. So, I mean, firstly, as early as like what we started from 2003, no, 2011, 12, when we see some fraud with the staff that was taking place now, the staff now, we're kind of defrauding us in the, where they will do some work, then they invoice, it comes to the staff, and then we pay the expenses around, they connect them in the household or connect the business or the school, and then we able to look at that now. And I've got many cases with the police, and none of the cases went anywhere. So I know the story in terms of like when it comes to TV staff. I know the story when the staff able to, I mean, bump your car in the taxi. I mean, like there was one who kind of like had an accident with the taxi, and taxi were on my case. So I know in terms of like that part, and I think more than anything, it's just like I still believe in people. I mean, more than anything, I mean, people are amazing, and I think that's kind of like thing that I still am kind of like see the so it's one area that we, and the second area that I never like put it here. It's the partnership that we have it, because if you remember the story, we started with 3 of us now. So part of the partner of Scribo could not take it. I mean, because he was having anxieties for us to grow. He was not able to. He wanted to fix computers. And that, I mean, that was a kind of a painful thing. And part of the lesson learned there, it was we pay a big amount of money. It was early then where we pay, we own about 25% of the business. We pay about 1.3 million to him now. It was kind of like a very painful thing now that the guy came in with a skill, but when he leave with kind of like, but it's part of the lesson, like any entrepreneurs. And then the biggest challenges, it came in by 2015. I mean, 2015, this was one of the biggest, I mean, when we scaling Eastern Cape, I mean, where my 2 partners were moving in now, spending time in the Eastern Cape. So we had a big robbery in Khayelitsha. So I used to say, Silulo will build a 3-story building in the township. So many young people can aspire and also inspire to make sure that they also dream around that part now. So we're on the verge of buying the property. And then, I mean, whilst we're in the office, it was not in the store, it was just in the office where we do our back end. And it was on the 15th of September. I just see 2 guys, we're in the boardroom, 2 or 3 of us, 2 guys came in. And when I'm trying to notice, I mean, like they had a bag, and then they had a mask, and they were violent. They asked us to lie on the floor. And they come to search our pocket to see, I mean, what we see, and 10 guys came in rushing in the different offices. I mean, they are ladies. I mean, ladies were put on the walls, on the floor. They cut the line. They eat the food of the staff, and they kind of taking computers. I mean, like, and I mean, I'm not sure if what will happen. My wife was running a restaurant next to where we are. We came and see this, and the guys, I mean, like they kind of say, I mean, they rush out. They are out and they walk in. They said they walk in with kind of like computers. They just went out during the day, and apparently outside they kind of like take it over outside in terms of there were 5 of them who were saying that, I mean, we're not operating now. And I was shattered. I mean, I was shattered. I was angry, and everything that I wanted to do, it was kind of like this community. But I was like, same community that is kind of like I'm trying to give back, but it's dropping me. And I think in terms of the challenges now, but the beauty in that space, I mean, the community were coming in numbers. I mean, people were praying, they're hugging, and it was a very sad moment. But we decided to close the building, and we moved in Belleville. And whilst we were in Belleville, after a year, I mean, I still remember it was on Wednesday, on the 15th of February again. We had a boardroom. I mean, we did so good. Same day, 7 o'clock, I get a message on my inbox on Facebook that your office is on fire. It's like, what? Your office has been on fire. I mean, you must come. I mean, like everything's been destroyed. And I'm not staying far away from the office. I'm staying in Case Rivers, like from a 10-minute drive. So while I was driving in, I just see a big fire. And once come in now, there were police, fire brigade, and everything that we worked was destroyed. I mean, everything, every awards ceremony, we've lost everything now. And we spent 2 weeks outside not knowing what to do. And then we moved to a different building, the tall building next to Sanlam. We just like, luckily the insurance paid. We could not figure out what could be the problem, but we've lost the sentiment. So whilst we're in a building, after a year now, I think it was 2019 now, so we saw a building in Belleville that we were selling. It was a call center. So we want to buy that building. It becomes our home now, so that we can have our own space now, not renting. And we went for funding. They would give us the funding, about 2.5 million. And the money was paid in my account so that we can transfer to the conveyance to these guys. And then suddenly someone inserted my email. Someone came in my email on the Gmail. And I said that there's someone, but I never take, like, when you say, I mean, funny thing in an email, but you never take it serious. I mean, there was someone that an email. It was on Friday, was traveling to Eastern Cape. And so Monday, I received a call from a PA, Andy, said, Budi, we've been hit. It's like, what do you mean been hit? The money has disappeared. I mean, how do you, I mean, money disappeared? Because he said, no, what happens, they send the email to the finance, they give instruction, as me giving instruction to the finance that pay these guys. I mean, so the finance, I mean, they kind of see it same, like kind of S or dot, that was different, but kind of same email that was like sent, and then they put the money in a different account. And it was the longest trip from Eastern Cape to come here to say, how am I going to pay 50,000 a month for the space that I'm not even having now. So it was kind of a difficult, but luckily the money moved from Nedbank to FNB. It was moved from, the guy was in call center. So the bank managed to trace it and they freeze the money, and it took us 3 months, and then we get the money back. But it was a traumatic experience. I mean, so watch out, as much as we are more on the digital space, watch out now. And then to cut the story, the lastly, so yeah, before COVID now, December 31st, I was coming in with my wife, spending time in Tiger Valley, and get a call from one of the store. There are 2 guys in the store here. They are saying that they've been robbing me for quite, and I don't get the message. What message? So these guys are saying now they want me to pay a protection fee. It's like, protection fee? I mean, what the hell protection? I've been working here for the last 15 years. How should I pay? Pay for what? I said, no, close the store, open the 5th. They close the store, they open the 5th. On the 5th, they come back. This guy come back and say that we are serious, we need money. And I said, instead of responding to them, because I can't respond to criminals, I write on my Facebook, said, no, I'm not going to pay money, and I make it worse. So what they've done, they went to a different store. They take the store, they put a gun and a bullet. They said, we are coming for more. If you don't listen, pay this protection fee. And I was scared. I was so scared because, I mean, I just like realized that everyone next to me, they are paying the criminals money. It's only me who's not paying money. And I was scared in terms of who's dealing with this thing now. And I couldn't. And I tried to, manage to work with them. I mean, there's a guy who's working in the intelligence, who able to go and represent me with the criminals and ask them what they're looking for. So they said, that guy, no, we want you to pay. I said, pay for what? No, because of your doing business, so we can protect you. Like, you are the same guys who are helping me, want me to pay to you. And this guy asked them in terms of like, can you tell me how much we are doing? I said, no, we don't know. I said, no, okay, go do your homework and tell us how much you are and how much you are doing. And it was more, they would come back. They never came back. From there, they never, and then after that, there was a COVID, and then things were locked down. So it never, so since then, it was like, not so far, any kind of, anything that has come in now. But I'm kind of saying that by working in the space where I am now, it's really, you must have a thicker skin because it's kind of tough. So I'm cutting more stories. I'm kind of like, someday I'll probably have my own reality around this thing now. But lesson learned here. on this journey, I think the journey I've learned in this kind of, like you said, that the key is resilience. Being an entrepreneur, social entrepreneur, it's very tough. So you're dealing with, many things now. So you must have a resilience, you must take care of yourself to the extent that you can deal with this kind of complexity. And two, also in the last 3 years, I learned about the growth. Scaling business is not an easy thing. Not everyone can scale business. It's bloody hard to scale a business. You're dealing with people, processes, system, rhythm. There's so much that we are dealing with now, but we need more South African high, impact businesses, because we need more. And once you've made it, I think it becomes amazing. And I've learned so much. And I can have a session around scaling now in terms of how you could scale your business in a different ways now. And I think the importance of the stakeholders that, if you work in the community, work with the stakeholders. They are key. They protect you. They will make sure that, nothing will happen to you. And we've made some mistakes. In the beginning, when we started the business, from a funding point of view, we signed some agreement that we never read. And then later we realized that we make mistakes. So it's important to read your black and white, or sign someone who's like more legally and able to assist you in terms of decision now. And I think more than anything now, it is quite important. Data is important. you must understand in terms of the impact, the customers and people that we're interacting. That becomes important, and the systems to run that, because you could do it on your own, but the system will allow you to scale. I think that's kind of learning I've learned. And COVID came in last year, March. Now it impacted, yes, because our business is about people. So we've reduced the staff by 20%. We're having about 200 to 196 staff members, but last year, this time, we're sitting about 260 staff members, but now we're sitting at 196 staff members now. So we reduced now staff members significantly. And we have incubator in Mitchell's Plain. We've closed the incubator because we could not able to cope with the cost of running the incubator with the entrepreneurs. In fact, we close it, but we're giving the guy who's owning the land, the land to continue. And we've, have two stock, give it as a franchise again, and the revenue was reduced by 30%. So it's been quite tough with the COVID in terms of respond to the COVID now, but also with the COVID, it's also give us more opportunities. Now we've moved all our content now, online, and we've got, blended approach. Instead of having 20 students now, we've got probably 10 students that are coming in our centers. We're adding more business service now because everything now is more digital now. And so any government service that you're looking for now, e-filing, will filing, SDS, CIPC, more digital now. So communities are depending on us now. People are coming to our store for us to there are guys now, if we're looking for employment, they will come in to do the Zoom meeting, their kind of interview in our stores now. So that's kind of where we're pivoting that business. Even now, we're launching next month a new Silulo, which is a career and a business center now, because of responding to that kind of a need. And technical services, everyone's got device, but no one's able to assist them. So they'll come in our stores with their devices for us to do the repairs and doing the support. We added, more courses around coding. We add also financial education. There's more courses are coming also around entrepreneurship, around soft skill, and also about how to, probably branding for yourself in terms of profiling yourself from social media now. So we're focusing more practical, course that the student will able to do it so they can find employment now. And COVID, becomes a blessing now, because it makes us to able to have these courses that probably will take time for us to have them. And probably lastly, before so this year we'll be going through Motherwell to store, one in PE again, and Udenhage, Grahamstown, Pizani, and Lusikisiki. So we plan to able to go this year and make sure that we add more kind of store. And then there's two other opportunities of deepening the impact. So we going out now to make sure that we having as kind of a scaling to areas where there's no one scaling now. So that's kind of a story that I wanted to share with you, and that's what I'm keen to able to ask me any question now. And I think that's it for now.
Well, that was an unbelievable story to hear you. That I didn't know half of those. I think all of those challenges that you had, and also I think some of those. I think one of those things. I think a lot of us people that either we've run businesses ourselves or are working within businesses or whatever, realizing that an overnight success sometimes takes 10, 15 years, right? And just seeing that gap from when you like literally had no plan and you were like, oh, let me just start selling refurbished computers. I'm going to be, everyone in the township should have a computer, to clearly that not what was going to work. So yeah, I think Zolani made a comment there. I think that's quite true, that's true entrepreneurship, where every challenge presents an opportunity. And I think that's a lot of the times with COVID, I think COVID was the big challenge for a lot of people, not just from a business perspective, from a personal perspective, and how we've had to adapt in our personal lives, in our families, in our environment, where we live, to all of those things. I think we've had challenges and potentially opportunities have come out of that. I think if anyone's got any questions, I've got a few I'm going to drop you, Luvuyo, right now. But if anyone else got some questions, pop them in the chat and I'll bring them up to Luvuyo. But I think, Luvuyo, I've got one for you here quickly. If Luvuyo from today could appear in a dream to Luvuyo 15 or 17 years ago and you were starting Silulo, what would you appear and what would you say to Luvuyo from 17, I think, years ago, in that dream to him, knowing what has come? Is there anything you would have told yourself back then?
Is in the dream now? Is it?
Is in the dream? It's like, yes.
I think it's kind of like. Jason, I mean, like, we couldn't really say, I mean, yeah, your question was your network was a problem. So can you repeat again?
Yeah, sorry. If you could appear, I see my internet's having a bit of a moment here. Let me put it in the chat.
I think Luvuyo now could appear to, like the younger Luvuyo in a dream. What would you tell in that dream?
So if I could appear now on the Luvuyo was in a dream when I was young and growing up now, I mean, my life has been transformed in a big kind of project in all of us now. So I think it's a difficult question to answer, but just like I'm still figuring out on a daily basis how the life has transformed over the years.
I think I'm back. Sorry about.
I see Jason is still trying to get back there. Luvuyo, how about we open it up and find out if anybody else have any questions that they have.
Okay, there's a question like, how do you build trust among the team, and how do you deal with skeptical team member? I mean, the next growth for us, I mean, it's about people. I mean, I got amazing guys who are so loyal to our values, who are giving all for Silulo, and they are going to be guys that are going to open more Silulo in Gauteng, in Mpumalanga, in Malawi, in Zimbabwe. It's all about people. And I think I have learned over time that you could probably, as an entrepreneur, you could only 30% of the work. 70% has to be on a team. So it's not like rosy. There are some disappointment, but I believe in people and I trust so much in terms of their ability to grow and scale in terms of that now. So that's kind of something that I've learned over time, that, I mean, you have to start growing for yourself now. So when I see you, Nancy, here on the call, I think something like it reminds me 2-3 years back with the program Wellbeing, where I find myself in Switzerland in terms of who I am now, because I was kind of like dealing with my inner thing that I was kind of dealing with me, and was affecting even our staff. So our staff members, I mean, they were kind of more attention for me, and I was focusing outside. I was not focusing internal now. So over the 3 years now, it's been like focusing on the people that we, and that's how I mean, if you go to any Silulo, you'll see a same kind of services and the same kind of like Ubuntu from our staff members, because they are key in this regard now. So I think it has been part of the journey along the time that as an entrepreneur, as an individual, it's like family with your wife, your children. It's very important to take care of your people, because they will take care of you. And I've learned that in terms of like how it's amazing now over time, that how the value I've seen the guys that they've kind of like working for Silulo, and they are really want to make sure that they are shining. And that's kind of how I see that you invest in your people.
Nice. I think my internet is back. I can talk again. I think you can hear me again. There we go.
Yeah.
So I see another question here about, so obviously what programming languages you offer at Silulo, but I think the bigger question to that is in terms of job placement after they probably have, finished the courses and not just coding. Is there some sort of placement? Is there helping to find people jobs?
Yes. I mean, like, I think Simpra it's a very important question. I think that's what we've been doing for the last 17 years now. Just giving skill and building a credible business in terms of the brand, because I mean, most people know Silulo in terms of the quality. There's no question about that. But it was not part of us now to look at from the employment point of view. And we've seen the COVID now, what have created to many young people around the township now. So part of the launch next month around this new look for Silulo, we will have space now for guys around the career service now. So they will able for the interview, being prepared for the job, so that they can able to make sure that they are finding the jobs around that. But beyond in our own, we also be able to adding the kind of a revenue around the placement and opportunity for this many. So we'll go out now and say that if you're looking for a young person who's good at coding or is good at computers or good at financial, these are students that we're having, and then you could able to come and able to access those students now. So we're working very hard at the Simpras in terms of putting now a CRM system now to understand exactly with the student. We have more survey question in terms of asking them the impact of the course, how as a course, where can we improve? And after even 6 months, we ask them, where are you now? How can we able to, to assist you? So now we kind of seriously investing in now on that customers to understand that what value can we add more around that.
Got you. I'm going to ask a bit of an EO question here, because I think we can be dropping that in. But your sort of maybe just a quick overview from yourself, Luvuyo, like what EO I think quickly is to you, your journey, like why you even joined EO and what it sort of brought to you personally and your business.
That's a good question. I've been member for EO. The last 3 years, from 2013 until 2016. And I left EO and I was part of the Schwab, and I kind of part of the well-being and kind of like moved globally to see, more of learning. And part of that, it was more personal development. It was more like for me, just to be kind of okay with who I am and be fine and be content with myself, not trying to go out and try to get approval. And also dealing with many things that I was dealing from a family point of view now. And so I've learned. So I came back 2019, EO, joined up again. And the reason why I joined EO again is because of the value around learning and the connection and the network and the platform and the experience. There's no other amazing organization globally like EO now, because the essence of EO is about forum. So you've got accountability team that every month you'll go through part of your family, part of your your personal, and also part of your business. So that's one part of and the exciting thing about EO when I come back now, which is the EOA now, which is the accelerator program to assist guys who cannot able to meet the criteria for EO now. So hence I was saying, I raised my hand, I said, it was more from Jason. In fact, if you remember Jason, early last year, I raised out to him and said, Jason, I'm very keen to make sure that there's more diversity in the EO. There's more guys who could be, and I know many guys who could benefit and being part of the member of the EO now. So as much as I'm part of the EO, but there's a big call for say that we need to make EO Cape Town even globally to have much more diverse brothers that can be. And I think the target is from this year on the EOA with me, Stefan, and Jason now. And I think we could leave with Jason legacy where we probably have minimum of 3 to 5 Black business is part of that. And I think that's what all of this thing. And I think this part of today is kind of a launching of like monthly, like a session that we'll have every month with the entrepreneurs to make sure that we show that the EO is serious about getting more Black businesses to be in a level where they want to scale. Because I mean, there's needed more business now. They can scale it because we need more of that business. And there's no other platform that I can tell you at the moment that you can get value except that being part of the EO.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think to touch on that quickly in terms of like the accelerator, and even myself going through accelerator too, is like, who do you turn to? You know, some of your friends have, you know, they've got 9 to 5 jobs, right? Or your family, they don't understand what it's like to maybe run a business or start a business. And so who do you turn to, you know, to ask questions about, like you had those problems in your business, like whether it was handling fraud and handling, you know, or how did you build the culture of your team and those type of things. You need other entrepreneurs that have done that, been there, done that, to chat to them and speak to them. They understand that sort of like what it's like. And I think that's a big part of being an EO, and obviously accelerator, trying to help you grow your business. So look, we will talk more on it. Now we've got everyone's email address. I think maybe 1 or 2, we've got a question like what sort of EO does. So it's, I mean, I can quickly just touch on that in terms of like what it is. It's a global organization of entrepreneurs. There's about 14 to 15,000 members globally. Cape Town has between an EO, there's the whole group, there's probably 150 of us, business owners. There's a link. Yes, Z's popped a link there to talk a little bit more about it. And it's just really 2 sides. It's helping you as an entrepreneur, being accountable, help you grow your business and access to learnings and a network, right? And I think the big thing to that is, especially on the accelerator side, where there's a lot of businesses in Cape Town, in South Africa, really, that you hit those walls of trying to get your business to scale. You don't have necessarily all the money or the people to try and like break through those little barriers of whether that's, you know, between like when it's like 0 to R1 million, obviously, but there's a big gap from 3 million Rand to maybe 15 million Rand annually that you're trying to break through. And there's these barriers that you need to hit and break through. And that's, I think, where a big part of where Accelerator sort of does really, really well, teaching you how important people are, cash, how important cash is to your business, processes. And I think Luvuyo's spoken about that, whether it's data, whether it's, you mentioned CRM, whether it's like processes in your business so that you're not doing the work every single day. Because if you're the one doing all the work, how are you going to focus on your business? Because you're working in your business every single day. And that's what really Accelerator is all about. I mean, look, we will drop some links to that. I've got everyone's email addresses. We're going to have, you know, at the end of next month, we're going to have another person in here talking about their experiences too. It's more about you and your journey, and, you know, us talking a little bit more about Accelerator and just opening it up, because we want to, as you mentioned, get more diversity into Accelerator. We've got some unbelievable business owners. Luvuyo, you're one of them that are part of the organization. The stories, the learnings that, like, just listening to you today, some of the stuff you managed to learn about scaling, and there's little nuggets that you can take away. And I think that's the key. Sitting in your own little cocoon, and COVID unfortunately has made us stick to the same little group of people, because how do you now get to talk to other people when before you could go to all these events and you could, you know, network afterwards? You can't do that at the moment. And so I think that's one of the things that EO is allowing us to, like, we've got a bit of a bigger network that you can get connected to, that if you plug into and you ask the right questions, you need some help, or you've got some advice to help. Like, Luvuyo has so much time to help other people and give them help about scaling, because he's been there and done that. And I think that's the key in getting access to those, you know, those people. So on 1 or 2 more minutes here, maybe 1 or 2, if there's any more questions. I think, yeah, Z's asked about franchise opportunities there. I'm sure Luvuyo, you can reach out to Z about that. But if there's anything, I think if there's anything else you want to add to this, Luvuyo.
No, I mean, like, yeah, maybe from the franchise opportunity. I mean, like, at the moment, we're not looking for the franchise outside now, except that internally now. So there'll be more franchise opportunity with the staff for us now, but that's the impact that we wanted to do it now. We are not maybe next 2 years now when we look at in terms of like other, I mean, outside people, but at the moment we are focusing in. So there'll be 5 more staff this year that will probably get a franchise opportunity. And that's how we kind of like decided that's the best thing, because it's easy, the value, the culture, the DNA, they're already part of it. And then kind of continue with their store. And most of them, they take existing stores, not the new stores, and they run with the stores now. So that's one part. And the second part, on the EOA, there's a kind of a requirement. I mean, like it's about $250 or $3 million to be part of the member of the EO. And I think that's kind of a requirement that kind of, but we know that many entrepreneurs, they can't even do $1 million turnover. And I think that's, we are aware about that. Hence, part of these sessions and part of saying that, I mean, we're looking for those kind of entrepreneurs that they want to go to the next level with their kind of a businesses. And that's kind of how the EO, because it's kind of an amazing space of entrepreneurs that we have it, that we can bring it and share those kind of like values around that. So I think that's probably the message that can become in now as we launch today now. So we're able to be part of the database. You probably receive more of the sessions. It was for me to set a tone so everyone comes in. And I think Stefan and Jason, they are working so hard. And there's a passion around this thing. And the language of entrepreneurs is kind of like understanding in terms of how the growth and the impact and the connection. And also that's how kind of like they get the energy now. So I think that's it. If there's no other question, probably, I mean, on my site, I mean, I've probably covered so much, except to Stefan, you want to say some few words?
Usually I'm a man of few, like a lot of words, but Luvuyo, you've done so amazing that I've got nothing to add today.
Cool.
Good one. Okay.
Great. So cool. I'll just wrapping this up. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm going to email everyone with the recording of this too, contact details, some links about, where to check out some of Silulo, Luvuyo's contact details, links to, EO Accelerator, tell you a little bit more about that. And also obviously follow up for the next event. We've got some killer speakers coming up. I see Nancy's popped on. Does Nancy want to add? Nancy's was away. Goodbye. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been really amazing. And thank you so much to everybody. And we will be in touch with all of you very, very soon. So thank you so much. Cool. Have a good evening and good morning and afternoon, like Nancy. Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Cheers, everybody. Bye.